Well, hey there everyone, how are you doing today? I hope you're all ready to play some guitar, because we are rocking out. I'm still kind of getting over being sick, so my voice sounds a little bit funky, but yo, we're going to roll with it anyways. And I thought we'd talk about something that I get asked a lot, you know, how to be more melodic. And I kind of thought, I was like, well, what would be the reasons why someone's playing maybe would, you know, you might consider unmelodic or something like that. We've got a bunch of different tips here. I think these will really help you out a bunch if you're really trying to go for that more melodic approach to your playing. If you want to, there's not really so much stuff tabbed out. The backing track I used will be linked down below in the description. But if you want to check out my free guitar course, I think that you could apply a lot of this stuff to what I teach in the Fretboard Decoder, the three-part series, and you would really get a lot out of it. So if you want to check that out, that is linked down below. But let's go ahead and jump into how to make our playing more melodic. If you are interested in the tones, I'm running into the Iconic Evolution while it's here. And I'm going into the Revv Generator 740. I have a, what is that? Flashback and Hall of Fame. And I'm going into my 2 Notes Live, and that's your tones. Now, number one, the one thing that really helps me out a lot, I feel, when I'm trying to play over something and create a more melodic phrase or line or something, is I don't view it any differently than I'm stacking rhythms on top of each other. So basically, if you had one rhythm going that was like this, so if you had one rhythm that was going like that, and you wanted to, you know, add something to it, versus just thinking like, what kind of rhythm? Like, listen to it for a second and be like, okay, what I hear is bam. So maybe it's like, now I have a little melody, and I started out by just going like this, you know, and I heard a rhythm. I was like, that was all the kind of the start I needed. So think very rhythmically. You're just stacking rhythms on top of each other, and you know, if over that, if you don't hear this, don't play that. You know, that's not going to be the most melodic thing in the world. But I feel like the other one had definitely like a hook to it, a catch. So bam, down, down, down. Oh, sorry. Boom. There's a melody to go over top of something that was super simple. And, you know, I'm also not, you know, it's not really a busy melody or anything like that. But I think that helps me anyways when I just think rhythmically, you know. The whole time, even if I'm soloing, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm really paying attention to the rhythm, and I'm playing over it. Now, the next one could have been first, but you know, you could do the first one without knowing this. But I think that knowing what to play is very important. What do you? And you're probably thinking, well, you're improvising. How do you know what to play? Well, this is really where scales and stuff come into play at, because I say this to students a lot. I feel like as players, there's a lot of our attention is divided. If you're improvising, for example, our attention is divided in a lot of different areas. What's happening? What are we gonna play? Where do we go next? Like, there's all these things, you know, buzzing around in our brain. And I find that if you don't know scales very well and stuff like that, and you don't have to know them like, you know, Steve I level or anything like that, just having a general understanding of how to kind of navigate the fingerboard can really help, because you know, without knowing that, there's a lot of guesswork. This is, you know, what note do I play next? Is it going to sound good? There's all kinds of these, you know, you second guess yourself, and you end up not playing things confidently because your attention's very divided on something that, you know, we can actually get rid of that by learning a scale or something like that. So over that, I knew it was my G major scale, and I can move it up here. You know, and that's all because I know the scale. I can easily move that around if I wanted to mix it up. You know, I was like, I thought I was landing on the G, but I messed up. But that's the thing. So I'm confident whenever I'm playing these notes that I at least have, you know, a concept of where I'm going, what notes to play, and I'm not really guessing about the notes so I can play them with, you know, a lot of just confidence behind the notes, that whenever I hear that, you know, you can do faster things if you want, whatever, but I'm confident in how I'm playing this stuff, and I think that being able to freely be melodic, it comes from, you know, I think knowing your scales and stuff can really help, and, you know, then playing them rhythmically, just like the first one. Now, with learning all them their scales, you're gonna have an important dilemma ahead of you. Is now you've got all these notes, we want to play them all. Well, you don't want to do that. You know, melody is all about, you know, I always say it, rhythm is king. So make sure that it is a very melodic, you know, singable is a good way for them. Like, what does melodic mean? I don't know. It has like very, to me, like singable qualities to it. You know, it doesn't have to all be like what a singer would sing necessarily, but there's parts where it's like, oh, you know, you hear that the melody gets stuck in your head or something like that. If I'm going like this, are you gonna remember that in an hour? But you might in an hour be like, oh. You'll remember that bad note, won't you? Dang it. But that's the thing. So now we need to be able to play less notes. More notes are not always the option. Even Yngwie, when he slows down and has like, you know, a melody like Black Star, that's slow, melodic, there's space, there's all kinds of stuff. So try using less notes. If you have a hard time with that, because I know for me, when I learned scales, then I was just like, oh, okay, this is the scale. I have to use all those notes all the time. And try limiting yourself. So give yourself like maybe just 2 strings and that you have to improvise over. So if you have that, if you're doing the G major scale, say like on the D string it's 4-5-7, 4-5-7, 4-5-7 on the D, 4-5-7 on the G. And that's all the notes you get to have. This is a good way to, you know, limit yourself and see what can I come up with out of this. You know, so there you go. I limited myself, and it forced me to not just sit there and go, you know, the whole time. I was like, all right, rhythmically use less notes. I don't have to use all of them all the time. So I was like, and see, and already it's getting, my wheels kind of turning, and I'm thinking other stuff. So use less notes, you know. Sometimes less really is the answer. Now, another way that you can really add a lot of melody into your playing is, you know, being a dynamic player. So don't get caught up in having to play things, oh, every note needs to be picked, every note needs to be this. No, really add a lot of variety to the way that you're delivering the note. Really try to do the note justice, especially if you have, you know, like a real magic note that just hits at the perfect time and stuff like that. And what I mean by that is all these little things you learn, all these solos you learn from other players, all this stuff, you're picking up little things, even though you might not, you know, realize it at first, but you're taking little bits and pieces from each of these players, and you're going to turn it into your own thing. And one of the things is think about, like, so these notes, you know, when I did that little phrase, there's actually a lot going on. It's a simple melody, but there's really a lot. I'm muting, for one. A muted note allows me to mute some, unmute others, and it gives other notes more of a bloom, and that is adding a lot of dynamics to the way that that melody is hitting the listener. And maybe you want to slide, like maybe you've learned some you know, crazy SKYPE stuff, and he does some wild sliding thing. Well, slide your note. Sounds a lot different than. That's the thing. So already now it's like, okay, we're delivering that. Maybe you want to, you know, do a lot more hammer on. can change things. You know, there's all these little things. Like I said, just be, you know, like a dynamic player. And that doesn't mean you have to know 10 different styles. But if you know, whatever style you're playing, be able to deliver those notes, you know, in a variety of different ways. And I think that helps because the melody, you can add more punch when you want to. If you understand that side of the playing, you know, whenever the rhythm picks up and stuff like that, you know, okay, I'm going to turn my volume up, I'm going to get louder, I'm going to play with more aggression all of a sudden, you know, so... Maybe I'd get higher. The last one I want to do is do this. Volume knob off. Just listen to the backing track without playing. I think it's oh too easy as guitar players to want to, you hear something, all right, let's play. Going back to something I said earlier is you can hear the dynamics of the song. You can get a general idea. So if I'm over here doing this, you know, I can hear that, and I'm like, okay, so I hear what's going to happen, and when I hear that, so that's what I hear. That's you know, I did it by listening. I heard, and I was like, all right. Going back to knowing the scales more, you know, the better you know those, the more you're gonna be able to play over this stuff, and you know, connect the dots between like, okay, I can hear the melody, but what are those notes? You know, scales come into play. You know, how are you gonna play the notes exactly? You know, that's where the different dynamics of playing this stuff. You know, so I'm using a lot of up picks. I want a lot of like snapped note. Lots of different chords you can throw in there too. And, you know, knowing the chords is also extremely helpful, but there's just a couple tips. There's a lot more that you could throw in here, and actually, if you guys make it to the end of the video, I really recommend you throw in some of your own tips that you have found that make you a more melodic player, and maybe this will help someone else figure out why, you know, they're not playing more melodic. And I'd like to see a lot of your tips as well so I can incorporate that in my own playing. So, until next time, guys, I will see you all on the flippity flop later. Peace out, homies. Keep on rocking. Guitar high five, and we're out of here. Bye, guys.